Live on digital media from the vast and spacious VPOD-TV studios in beautiful Oak Brook, Illinois, the U.S. capital of polo. Yes, polo with the horses. It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend, Bruce Wolf, and this week's special guest co-host, Dobie Maxwell, and today's very, very special guest, former Tribune columnist, Eric Zorn. And now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Wolf.
Oh, time for the weekly, wrap. It hurts. And that's not even real wood. Bruce Wolf, along with filling in for Tim Slagle. This is our debut podcast, right? Although we already had one out there with Mike North, and it's the podcast world. There's the space-time continuum is all warped. Is Dobie Maxwell. Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be in the celebrity dunk tank here. Tim Slagle calls him. He's got a paying gig, and I get to come here. And
that's great. Now, Dobie and I worked together at the Loop. I worked for the Loop about, I had like 15 or 16 tours of duty there.
Yeah.
The third one with Brandmeier, I was ready to kill myself, even though I was getting paid a lot of money. But, enough is enough already. But you and I worked with Spike and Manton and
Max Bumgarner.
Max Bumgarner. Wait, no, isn't he the pitcher for the San Francisco Giants?
Yes.
Anyway, whatever. We worked there, and they had a changeover in management and everything like that, and everybody can't except me. Mm-hmm. I got to stay.
You were Ted Knight.
Totally. Yeah, I'm the one who gets to stay,
exactly.
Mary. You go the long way to Tipperary.
Mayor, Lou.
But I got to stay because Brandmeier was coming back, and I noted, and I talked to the program director who had to leave too in the changeover, Greg Salk, and I said to him, hey, guess what? The ratings for the show were really good, our last ratings.
Of course they were.
And he was ready to kill me. So, because I got to stay and everybody else got to go.
Well, it was really fun to work with you because you and I exchanged some of the most obscure, underhanded references, and I really loved it. I'm thinking, you know what? I just picture the average pickle truck driver that listened to the Loop that wanted to hear the latest Ozzy record, and Bruce Wolf and Dobie Maxwell are going out there with Jean Paul Sartre references.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It was a blast. Totally had a blast working.
And I'm just dropping names there because I never actually read any Sartre.
It's okay. Don't care. It was still fun to do.
No, it was great. Well, so thank you for joining us.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Actually, it was you guys were the headliners. I was the news guy. I got in trouble with the with the general manager of the station. I'm hearing some interference from the Russians right now. I knew they were jamming us, those damn commies. But I got in trouble because she detected, and she was pretty smart, that I was delivering a biased newscast, a conservatively biased newscast for the Loop. You can't do this.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I tried.
I don't think listeners listen to the Loop for the newscast.
No, right, exactly.
We had fun.
Yeah, that was good. So, but this was a long time ago. You're still doing stand-up comic?
It's a tough
comedy
thing to do. I was doing cruise ships before the COVID hit.
Give me some ginger right now and not ginger like Ginger and Mary.
I'll take Lovey Howell. She's got the money. She's got the pipeline.
Because I'm getting dizzy. Just thinking about a cruise ship.
Have you been on a cruise ship before?
And I was in the bed the entire time. I can't move.
I can't say the brand name that it was, but I'll just say it's Walmart on the water.
Oh, really?
The lowest form, Carnival. It was a Petri dish when I was on it before COVID.
Petri dishes, the midnight Petri dish buffet is fantastic.
All you can keep down for $4. And it sounds good in theory, as does communism. And then you're actually out there on a boat, weeks from home. It was absolutely
calling bingo numbers.
Bingo 069. Come on, Grandma, help me out. And
right.
I got. It was absolutely.
I-19 is my favorite number for some reason. I don't know why.
I like 22. To 22.
Yeah, I guess so.
The thing is, it's prison with a bad buffet. And it's all the ships. There was 27 ships for the company I worked for.
Really?
And it got to the point where the menu is exactly the same. It's Groundhog Day. Monday's this, Tuesday's that, Wednesday's that. So I was out there, and the first night I was on a cruise ship, I saw some of the staff eating cornflakes for dinner. And I thought, why would you do that? 3 weeks later, I was doing it.
Absolutely. You're hoping for the iceberg to hit you.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible.
All right. Well, there's got to be a morning after this show. And that's when this show will debut tomorrow, right? We're going to be talking to Eric Zorn, the former... I should always turn off my phone.
Turn off your devices.
This could be important. Okay, yeah.
I've got my
my
pacemaker off.
Right. Okay.
Every garage door will open.
You,
here.
I mean, you look in good shape, but all those years in the nightclubs and everything like that, they
Thank
had
you.
to
I never
defibrillate you? Is
yeah,
that right?
exactly right. I sold my kidney on eBay. I'm just becoming a cyber comedian. And so people, I hate to say it, people have the attention span of a flea.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I hate to get even more personal about this, and this is all Chris's fault. Somebody actually watched the Mike North thing, and their only comment was that I'm wearing a shirt that's 2 sizes too big. And the guy was right. So this one, I think, is only 1 size too big. Am I right about that? Okay, because all my clothes are like, I think I shrunk in the last 20 years, and I haven't bought anything.
It's certainly not tailored.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I saw that episode. I thought it was very entertaining.
Oh, thank you.
I did.
Thank you. You didn't concentrate on the shirt.
I don't have one. No, I concentrated on the content, which I found entertaining.
Thank you.
I didn't have one of the people meters though, so I don't know if you got any ratings out of it.
Yeah, it's out there forever.
It's
so I
out
mean,
there.
it's infinite. There's infinite possibilities for the ratings there. All right, so I'd like to pose this question to Dobie. Is there anywhere we can find a TV station, local TV station, news station, reporting on a tenant who isn't paying his rent because of the moratorium right now, the unconstitutional moratorium that Joe Biden even admitted to the unconstitutionality of, and he should be impeached. That's an impeachable offense, but that's another point. And this tenant who isn't paying his rent won't get a job because of the unemployment benefits are too good. And he's causing great hardship to his middle-class landlord who rented out a basement apartment to the guy. There are 8 million landlords in the United States, like there are people in the naked city. And speaking of obscure references, and I'm just wondering if anybody's ever done that story. I can't imagine local newscasts doing that because it's too conservative.
Sure.
Because we want to look at the tenants as the victims, and it's always kill my landlord, and
CILL. An obscure reference for you too.
But I mean, there's so much bias, especially with this COVID thing. Everybody's out for Ron DeSantis because he's the presumptive heir to the Republican throne, and they want to see more COVID deaths in Florida, but they never talk about, for example, Louisiana, where it's a Democratic governor, and there's a lot of minorities there who don't want to take the vaccination either. So it's a two-way street on this one. It doesn't cut across ideological lines.
No, and I think it's follow the money. I hate to be a skeptic, but in my old age, I just look at it. It's like, well, there are more people that die in car accidents than of COVID, and the 0.0001 people that actually do die of it to shut down the world. Right. Seem a little bit harsh on my
panic is there's people who have a vested interest in panic, and so now you don't have to answer this question to have a passport to be on this show. But are you vaccinated?
I am not.
Get out of here.
I self-vaccinated. I took I did. To me, it came out way too short of time, and I would like to.
See, you're wrong. See, and now I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to look like a pro-vaxxer, like some crazy liberal, and that's not the audience I want to get. But you're wrong, Dobie.
Okay, Bruce.
No, but here's the reason, and you don't have to agree with me because you're technically the sidekick here today. I mean, you can argue
fine.
with me.
I don't want to argue.
But here's the thing. I mean, it's going to now. You could argue that it's been given this emergency status by the FDA, but they're just slow walking it. The odds of you being harmed by the vaccine are much, much less than you being harmed by COVID itself. And I say that notwithstanding the fact that I'm a tort attorney, and several years from now, if we find anything wrong with these vaccines, we're going to be looking for millions and millions of dollars. But that is the caveat on the side.
2 words, thalidomide babies.
Yeah, here's the thing. Speaking of obscure references, that's not what this is.
Okay.
That's not what this is.
What's in it?
Do I look like a scientist?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. So
Yeah,
I'm going to take a Fauci ouchie.
And like Dr. Fauci shouldn't be around because he's lied for the good of the country over and over again. We don't need that from a scientist. We need the truth from the scientist. We'll make the policy. We're not little children. But I'm telling you, because you're a little child, and I'm going to wrap you across the knuckles here, Dobie.
Okay.
You should get it, and you're not as young as you were when we worked on the loop. You could be
my bones
risking
are
quite a
creaking
bit
as we speak. I am not.
Don't you want to get on another cruise ship ever again in your life? All the cornflakes that you're going to be at the shuffleboard. for.
When LeBron James and his family get their vaccination, I might think about it.
So LeBron James said no, he's not getting vaccinated?
He's not getting vaccinated.
I mean, LeBron James is supposed to be a leader.
The screaming liberal of all time.
And he's not getting vaccinated?
He's not getting it.
That's and of course nobody's making it that big a deal. It's only the DeSantises or DeSantis.
They're kind of making it a political thing, and
it's totally been
politicized. Did you get the flu
politicized.
shot? Have you gotten the flu shot?
Yes,
I've never gotten
yeah.
the flu shot. Never got the flu. I had pneumonia when I was.
That's what we call post hoc ergo propter hoc. It's a logical fallacy. You think because you didn't get the shot, you didn't get the flu. That's not the reason.
Okay.
You're lucky.
I'm lucky. I'm Mr. Lucky. I'm the only person I know
That's true.
I have run out of gas
wait.
in a car wash.
Isn't Mr. Lucky
twice.
like your?
That was
your,
my shtick, my
your
moniker.
shtick. That
my
was your
thing.
comedy album. You didn't think I remembered
Yeah,
that.
you do. You're the only one.
I
that does.
saw you absolutely kill.
It went zinc.
At a comedy club when we were promoting our
Probably
show on the
Zanies.
Loop.
Yep.
Probably Zane. And you were just, I mean, and I was envious because I
Thank
don't
you.
think I could stand up in front of a bunch of
Difficult thing
junks.
to do.
I mean, I'm sportscast funny where you don't expect it. I'm Belgian church funny. I'm not stand in front of people who are paying $1.95 a drink or something like that.
I'm not getting that. You can cross-examine in court too, which I can't do. It's a skill.
Oh no, they won't let me do that at the law firm. I'm the old guy. They just
Yeah.
put me off in a corner
Okay.
there. I'm like Costanza.
Are you
I
on
try
the
to
door?
pretend that I'm working, huh?
Schwartzberg, Philipstein, and Wolf. Are you
Look,
on,
there
are
are
you on the
20.
door?
I'm the 22nd attorney in a 21 attorney law firm.
I got
That's so. Coming up, we've got Eric Zorn.
Yes. I know who that
Speaking
is.
of guys who helped launch my broadcast career, he wrote an article on me in the Tribune about 39 years ago.
Okay.
And he's out of a job at the Tribune, so we're going to try and raise some funds, do a GoFundMe page for Eric Zorn,
Okay.
formerly of the Tribune. Bruce Wolf, Dobie Maxwell on the Weekly Wrap.
Chicago Tribune has long been one of the most important sources of information about the city and suburbs. Their reporters and editors consider themselves government watchdogs and historians for Chicago. And some of the most recognizable among Tribune employees are columnists, like Eric Zorn, who's been with the paper for 41 years. But this is his last week.
I didn't particularly want to leave. They don't have the kind of space for local columnists and commentary that the Chicago Tribune has had.
All right, Bruce Wolf and Dobie Maxwell. No, I do the knocking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's my shtick
right,
on the
sorry.
Weekly Wrap. And we are joined right now by Eric Zorn. Eric, who was that reporter? That wasn't John Bulldog Drummond, was it? Who was that reporter?
I don't remember. I did a whole bunch of different interviews for that particular time in my life. I think that might have been Channel 11. but
No,
I
that was
don't
7,
remember.
so you don't even know. I mean,
That was,
when they
I-
become that
yeah.
fungible to you, Eric, I mean, that's awfully condescending of you about the broadcast media. Yes.
It's not that they're fungible, just that, seriously, I was interviewed probably 10, 15 times during that week by local and national news outlets just about what was happening
Well,
at the
I'm
Tribune.
I'm so lazy, Eric. Why don't you just give me your best answer for any of those questions right now, and then I'll edit in the question later.
Okay, I'll talk about why I left. If
Okay,
you'd like to
sure.
talk about that, which is that our company, the Tribune Publishing, was taken over by Alden Global Capital, which has a reputation, as a lot of people know, for buying newspapers and gutting them to make them more profitable. And so they were, and every place they go, I did some research and realized that they don't place much value on columnists. They don't have a lot of columnists, local columnists. A lot of the local commentary that they publish is the stuff that you see from think tanks, and like the Illinois Policy Institute here would contribute columns to Alden papers and so on. But they don't like to pay for opinion content in general, was my conclusion. So when you've got someone who's been around as long as I have, making the kind of money I was making, I knew that they were looking to cut and that I would have a real target on my back. They made a very attractive buyout offer.
How much?
And a whole bunch.
Did anybody ask how much?
Well, no,
79 cents a pound.
well, no, I mean it's basically a year's pay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So no, it was a
not
very
bad.
nice offer.
I mean, for greedy, socially Darwinistic capitalists to offer you a year is not bad.
Yeah, no.
I mean, because everybody, nobody ever talks about the good side of the hyena. So,
it was almost an impossible offer to pass up, and I'm 63, so it's time to think about. I feel like I still got some gas in the tank, some things I might want to pursue. But otherwise, I've just been giving interviews to the media and appearing on podcasts. But
So
that's a lot of fun.
Right, it's not something to pass the time. I call this my hobby. So let's see, if you're 63, let me do some math. You were 24 then when you interviewed me in my law office.
That's
and
probably right.
Did a big story. And the law office I was in was probably even smaller than this room that I'm in right now. And I remember you describing, I was doing broadcasts, Dobie, on the Loop.
Sure.
That was my first time on the Loop. I was with you the fourth time or something.
I listened to you the first time.
And I'd have my microphone on top of Sullivan's Law Directory and Black's Law Dictionary, neither one of which I ever used for their intended purpose. And Eric wrote about this, a big story in the Tribune. And of course, because we live in a copycat world of journalism, Sports Illustrated picked up on it. I was in their scorecard section. They had a picture of a cartoon. And then Channel 7 did 2 stories on me. They even copied themselves. So, Eric, how much do I owe you for this? And I know you were just speaking the God's honest truth when you wrote that story, so it wasn't like you were, my publicity agent.
Oh, nothing. I mean, it was a column that my editors really liked, and it got around, and so I think we're even. I mean,
okay.
So Tribune agreed. They said, "We'll keep you on for another 40 years."
All right. So now it's enough with the niceties.
Hoping you'll do something else.
Yeah. Let's start fighting here because it's too nice.
Throw it down.
But before we do that, I always love. We interviewed a guy. One of our pilot episodes, one of the Arizona state reps who's behind the audit in Arizona. So first I wanted him to get out all his books that were behind him for the shot. And, you kind of get a picture of a guy just from those books. And it was all about global warming as a farce, stuff like that. So I kind of expected that. I think there were a couple of Scientology books in there as well. I'm not sure, Chris. So if you had to turn around and look at one book on your shelf there, which one would it be?
Well, if I had to turn around and actually look at what's here, I would see my daughter's bookshelf because I'm in my daughter's bedroom.
Wow.
This is a virtual Zoom background that I stole from my college roommate when I was visiting him recently. I said, "That's a great bookshelf. I'm going to use it for Zoom." So that's what you're seeing.
So I mean,
none of these books. I've read none of these books.
You've read none of these books. Yeah, because I saw James Michener. I said, Eric's not a James Michener guy. He's not. He wouldn't have time for.
Is he boiling mad?
Right. So none of these books matters. You're just a phony TV character like we all are right now. You've totally bought into the new media. All right. So what are you going to do with yourself? I mean, you're too young to retire. You are. I mean, we've had disagreements on Twitter and the like. I got to thank you for never blocking me. It's always my goal to get blocked on Twitter. You've never done it. We've had some fights, but you're too young. I mean, you're very talented. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I think I might get back into the game a little bit, doing something that's kind of like what my former colleague John Cass is doing, where he's writing a regular column online. I don't think I want to do that so much as maybe I want to have more of a regular presence online. I was the first person to write a blog for the Tribune. I think I was the first person in Chicago who worked for a major newspaper who wrote a general interest blog. There were some tech blogs, but I was the first guy to blog. I remember going to my editors and having to explain to them what a blog was back in like 2003 or whenever the heck it was. So, but that, because of various platform changes, got away from me, and we stopped doing blogging a couple of years ago. And honestly, blogging went away pretty much with the advent of social media.
Right. I was actually a blogger for the Tribune had this blog site for just about anybody you could get in. And mine was called, and I think Jimmy Greenfield was the guy who was behind it at the Tribune. And mine, he made a nice logo and everything. It was beautiful. You know how you go somewhere and all you get is this lousy T-shirt. Sure, and all I got was that wonderfully lousy logo, and it's called Blog Shakalaka, which fit absolutely. And I made up these stories. I was trying to do like an Onion-esque thing. That's what I was dabbling in, and I got myself into some trouble there, like with Ron Majors, because I did some satire that Ron Majors didn't like, and Bill Zwecker, people like that I was skewering with some. It was actually fun to do, but it's like, this is. I love the democratization of the media, Eric, but boy, it's tough. It's competitive, and it's hard to make a buck. I hope you saved.
It's very yeah I did, and it is very competitive. And if I do something like that, if I get back in with a newsletter, a Substack, something like that, it will not be with the idea that I'm going to make that much money, if any money, doing it. It's because I like to do it. I really, one of the things that over all the years I really enjoyed the give and take. I enjoyed sparring with people like you. I enjoyed getting nice letters. I enjoyed getting smart critical letters. And so all of that has gone away, and I'm missing the interaction. I get some of it on social media. We all do. And again, as I was saying, I think that social media, Facebook is essentially a series of interconnected blogs, if you think about it.
Right, yeah.
People are posting, and then they're commenting on each other's sites. I mean, I love that platform. I don't think anybody's making any money on it. So, I don't know. I might do that. There's also possibility of doing books. I've gotten a couple of feelers from people who want to talk to me about book ideas.
What would the book be about?
Well, see, I don't have any book ideas. That's going to be a problem.
I can't even read a book. Well, you know the old story, the newspaper guys want to write the great American novel, and TV guys just want to read one, and so it's kind of difficult for me. But yeah, but that would be great. I mean, you really do have a lot of talent. But let me play Lionel Hutz right now for a second to lead into the next segment. I remember agreeing with you once, and it was your take on Trayvon Martin. And you had very carefully gone through the route that he had taken, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you had said it looked like he could have avoided the confrontation with George Zimmerman, and you weren't gung-ho like the typical liberal columnist, and you might have even taken flack for that. I add that to the fact that you actually wanted to wait for the facts to come out on Adam Toledo, and you were skewered for that. This is the 13-year-old boy who was shot by a cop in Chicago and killed. I'm putting one and one together and making three here. Are you, in fact, a racist, Eric Zorn?
What I've always considered myself to be is a heterodox liberal, and the Trayvon Martin case is a great example of that, which is like, when that happened, I mean, first of all the images came out of Trayvon Martin, showed him like as a 12-year-old boy, and he wasn't 12 years old, I think he was 17. He didn't look anything like those innocent pictures of him in his baseball jersey, and the idea that George Zimmerman was this large, hulking man who chased him down through the suburbs or the subdivision in Sanford, Florida, and shot him like a dog, that was very appealing to a lot of people. And that's where Al Sharpton and all those guys jumped in to make this a big case. And I just started looking at the map of the subdivision, and I looked at the timeline of the 911 calls and the timeline of the calls that Zimmerman made and that some of the neighbors made and when the fight took place. And I realized that there is no way that this pudgy 30-ish would-be neighborhood watchman, this Paul Blart of the subdivision.
Eric Zorn, I'm going to cancel you right now. No, we have to take a break. But we're going to pick up on the other side. And maybe you'll get some religion during the break right now. Bruce Wolf, Dobie Maxwell with Eric Zorn, the novelist, coming up after this. Bruce Wolf and Dobie Maxwell on the Weekly Wrap, and our guest is Eric Zorn, the former Tribune columnist, who was right in the middle of a closing argument on behalf of George Zimmerman, because we'd like to do the oldies trials. But yeah, you were making the case that Trayvon Martin was not. It was not what it was cracked up to be.
Well, it was pretty clearly what happened was that Trayvon Martin saw this guy who was giving him the stink eye and starting to follow him as he walked home. And he decided he would go back and beat his ass, basically. I mean, that seems to be very clearly what happened, because right. Zimmerman is standing there. If he's going to be hunting down little black children, he's not going to be talking on the phone to the 911 dispatcher. He's standing there waiting for the cops to get there.
No, you'd make a great attorney, because the defense attorney, I work for a plaintiff's firm, and it's all about, how horrible the injury is and everything like that. Defense attorneys want to be sarcastic. Oh, what are you talking about? And this is what Zorn is doing right here. So you might think about another career at age 63. You could do law school in 3 years. You could make partner by 85. So there you go. So,
but
go ahead.
Long and short of it is that, Was Trayvon Martin attacking George Zimmerman? Yes, I think that's pretty clearly what happened, and you have to admit that. And now, does that give George Zimmerman cause to shoot him? It probably does under Florida law, which is why, by the way, I have also written columns that make people mad about Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't know if you've
yeah, I know.
Those.
Sure.
Is Kyle Rittenhouse? Yeah, it's like it's really a bad idea to march through a protest zone with a gun across your chest, and it's a bad idea if you're underage to be carrying that gun. All those things are true. I probably don't agree with Kyle Rittenhouse's politics about anything, but the guy was being chased by a big old guy who was clearly bent on taking his gun from him and doing God knows what. The guy had been yelling at him earlier.
Next thing I'm going to see, you're going to be storming the Capitol again on January 6th, Eric Zorn. Between this and that, and let's bring up, excuse me, Adam Toledo, which we mentioned before, 13-year-old kid who was shot by a cop and killed, and there was some question as to whether the kid had a gun in his hand at the time of the shooting, and he really didn't at the time. But whether it's justified or not is another question. But all you wanted to do was wait till the facts came out, and you were attacked. By the way, full disclosure, you went to Michigan, right? I went to the
Yes.
Medill School of Journalism, Northwestern University, or I like to call it the Medill School of Spin right now. And there's I believe it's an ethics professor, and I'm looking for his name right now, but
Stephen Thrasher.
Stephen Thrasher, and he basically said that it's never too early to rush to judgment on a case like this. I mean, it's like going through the looking glass. It is sentence first, verdict afterwards. Lewis Carroll wouldn't faze anybody nowadays.
Yeah, it was very Queen of Hearts, and all I said was, what was happening was that protests were taking place throughout the neighborhood down there, talking about a police officer had murdered this child, and everyone was talking about how young he was, and the column I wrote said, look, we don't know what happened here. This was before the video came out. The video hadn't been released yet, and of course we did know that there were gunshots fired in that area, and that's why the police were there, and I said, look, we don't know. A, we don't know what happened, and B, you can't say that because someone is 13 years old that they're like a baby. And some of the people were saying you've murdered a baby. And I pointed out a number of cases where 13-year-olds had committed pretty horrible crimes. Just as a way to say, like, let's wait before we decide that this particular incident really means anything.
Well, it's a basic tenet of journalism that you get the facts. I mean, the City News Bureau motto, if your mother says she loves you, check it out. You get all the facts and then come to your conclusions. But this professor is saying no. And here's what I'm saying. You're responsible for people like this, Eric, because you're a liberal and you've created a Frankenstein monster. Do you agree with me?
No, I don't. Of course, I don't agree with you about that. I mean, I took after this guy and finally had a column. I gave him a month. He wrote something like, I'm canceling my subscription to the Tribune, which you're a journalism professor, man, in Chicago. You've got to have a subscription to the Tribune and the Sun-Times and Cranes. Come on.
But the thing is, here the problem is, Eric, is that you're a liberal. You favor diversity as opposed to affirmative action. Affirmative action, in principle, sounds good. It is about where you have a history of discrimination against a discrete and insular minority. You'll give preferential treatment to the black guy as opposed over the white guy, all other things being equal. But then comes along a Nixon appointee named Lewis Powell, Nixon of all people, and I think it's the Bakke decision, decides, no, what we want is diversity, and we're going to make color a qualification for things. And once you do that, once you make color a qualification and you get rid of the usual qualifications, you can get rid of anything. You can get rid of the tenets of journalism. Everybody's a conservative when it comes to their own thing, and that's what you are. And was it Irving Kristol or somebody else who said a conservative is a liberal who's been mugged by reality? You helped create this, and you're being hoisted by your own petard. Agree or disagree?
Well, the Bakke decision was, 77 or something? I mean,
that's sowed the seeds. Yeah.
But Powell, as I remember that case, Powell was the one who, split the difference. He was the deciding vote, and there were like 4 or 5 different opinions in that case, and Powell was the one who decided, well, we're not going to go by. You can't make it your only qualification, and we can't be about race. It has to be about diversity because diversity benefits everyone. I mean, I remember it was a very delicate argument, as I remember.
So delicate that you can't even parse it.
Yes.
Now here's a dime, Mr. Hart. Now go call your mother, and she can take you home.
Well, my sense of the idea of diversity I think it's really important in newsrooms, for instance. It's probably important it's certainly important in other businesses where it's a good thing for companies to have that. And what you're looking for when you're trying to diversify a university, trying to diversify a company is people from different backgrounds. And
but do you want diversity to become a qualification, the color of someone's skin to become a qualification and substitute for some other qualification? And we know that this happens. I mean, Bill de Blasio in New York was, open about it. He was going to discriminate against Asians in favor of blacks. I mean, it happens at Harvard. We know that this kind of thing happens, and I'm saying that what you get, it metastasizes into something where you get this nutcase professor who should be thrown out on his ass at Northwestern, telling you that he doesn't want to find out who, what, where, when, and why, and how.
Yes, no, that was horrible. And
it's your fault! Because you're liberal! Because it metastasizes. Okay, go ahead.
I don't think I hardly ever wrote about affirmative action because I think it's...
You don't have to write about it. It's in your blood. I mean, you favor that. You're a liberal. Do you understand how you... I mean, it's the cancel culture. I mean, that's what's happening now. I mean, conservatives are on the sidelines on this. It's liberals. Hey, it's Cuomo in New York right now. I mean, it's the Democrats who are getting rid of him. But this is the kind of thing that happens. You create this monster, and it goes off crazy, and you don't know how to control it anymore.
Well, Colin Kaepernick was a victim of cancel culture from the right. I mean, it's not like one side is totally guilty of trying to ostracize and marginalize people who express opinions they don't agree with. Kathy Griffin. There's a lot of examples of cancel culture. But to circle back to Stephen Thrasher, I waited a month because he accused me in this tweet. Not only did he say he's canceling a subscription, but he also accused me of promoting the murder of children. Which I don't. I just for the record, I want to say that I do not. I do not approve of that. And so, I wrote to him a month. I waited for him to cool down. I wrote to him a month later. I said, "Look, you're a journalism professor. I'd like to open up a dialogue with you about it. I'd like to talk about why it is you reacted this way. Because I did that with some other people who had written to me. Because I was pilloried on Twitter, Facebook, and in my own newsroom, which really bothered me, frankly. Where there were a number of the younger reporters.
Who pilloried you? Who on earth believes you think this guy's an outlier? He's not. I bet you it was Darlene Glanton. I'll bet you it was she, right? Am I right about that?
No, Darlene was not one of them.
Okay, who was it? Name names. Senator McCarthy, have you no shame? Name us some names right here.
No, I'm not going to throw any old colleagues under the bus, but it was, and the thing that was really bothering me was exactly the way you framed it, Bruce, which is, the who, what, where, when, why. This is our job. Our job is to hold up our finger when everybody else is going nuts and say, wait a sec. Or to say, hey, what's really going on here? Is this what it looks like? Rather than to join in the parade and the crowd and grab our torches and pitchforks. Rex Hupke wrote a column on the same topic where he said there are not two sides to the Adam Toledo story, and I'm like, look, there are two sides to every story.
There's more than two sides. If you're an attorney, you find out there's usually 5 or 6 sides.
Yeah. In defense of people who criticized me, I did admit in a follow-up column that I was very coldly analytical about it's a when the 13-year-old kid,
my goodness.
No matter
the bleeding heart liberal didn't bleed enough. You didn't hemorrhage over this.
No, I would say.
See, you'll wind up apologizing like that New York Times guy apologized for describing using the. Did he use the N-word to describe people who use the N-word, and he was trying to special case, and he had to flagellate himself too. That's what you wind up doing.
He tried. No. All I said was that I felt like that I didn't really acknowledge the fact.
You're right. You're a nice guy.
When a 13-year-old goes off the rails, he's 13, and everything has failed him if he's in that. If he's
absolutely
in the
right.
gang member in the
Absolutely
middle
right.
of the
But
night.
who's failed him? You failed
Well-
America, Eric Zorn, because of your liberalism. You caused this. You caused this cancer on our culture, and I hope you write a best-selling novel. I really do. I will.
Well-
I will even try to read it, and I can't read. So,
I'm going to spend the rest of my career trying to make up for what I have done. Bruce.
hey, you described Chet Chit Chat, I believe, as a fish, the sound of a fish flopping on the bottom of a rowboat or something, which I believe was the. Did I quote you correctly? You probably don't remember, but it was probably the best
I haven't memorized
description.
all my columns yet. So.
Yes. Well, thank you, Eric. Best of luck to you. Go get some books, some real books, okay?
I'll get some real books if there's this fake background. It's really
Okay, we appreciate it. Good luck to you, Eric. Thanks so much.
Hey, Bruce, good luck with this show. It sounds like a lot of fun, so I'll be watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bruce Wolf and Dobie Maxwell on the weekly wrap. You do that 4 times in a show.
Gonna need a knuckle.
Really tough one. Hey, Dobie, let's plug your book before I forget.
Yes, it's called Monkey in the Middle, and it's published by Eckhart's Press right here in the Chicago area. And the basic story is my best friend, since we were little kids, robbed a bank that he used to work at. Now, you have a best friend when you're a little kid? Everyone's got a best friend. Boys and girls, you're about 10 years old. I met him when we were 10.
Yeah.
And he robbed the bank he used to work at, not once, but twice.
Really?
He tried to blame the second bank robbery on moi. I had to wear a wire for the FBI.
Are you
to get him
kidding?
to
Wait, is this a novel?
Yes.
Oh, I
It's-
thought-
it's a true crime story. I didn't
No,
make it up.
it's not a novel. It's true.
It's a novel that it's an unusual story. But I'm
Wait,
not
is the
clever
story
enough.
true?
It's a true story.
It's a true story.
100% true. And I had to wear a wire. I'm not wearing one today. In the federal court and testify against my best friend.
And did he go to the clink?
6.5 years.
Really?
For one bank robbery. They didn't get him. For
I mean,
the
how much
second one.
money did he steal?
He got $105,000 the first time, $36,000 the second time. The first time, I got fired from my radio station. You hear the 3 magic words in the broadcasting business you never want to hear. You've heard them. Shut the door.
Oh, really?
Nothing good ever happens after that. So I was depressed. Called my best buddy. We're living in Milwaukee.
So
at
then
the
you
time.
started robbing banks with him?
No,
or-
I did not. No, I said,
okay.
let's go someplace warm. He said, where do you want to go? I said, how about Vegas? Never been there before. When do you want to leave? How about tomorrow morning? So I was renting a car and picking him up. He robbed the bank. He had $105,000 in stolen bank money in 2 satchels in the trunk of my vehicle, rented vehicle.
So you're an accessory.
I was an
Okay.
accessory, and and one thing led to another, and I had to wear a wire and get him to confess he did it. So it's a hell of a story.
He's not out to get you or anything like that.
Yeah, he told me he was going to shoot me.
That's good. Just get out of here right now.
The day that I started on the loop, he got released from prison.
So that's 16 years
16
ago.
years ago.
So, I mean, maybe he's kind of
I
gone
think
on
he's
to
cooled
other
off a
things.
little bit by now,
Yeah, a
but
little
you
bit.
never know.
No.
So that's a true story. If you
He
want to
would,
go
they would jack up our ratings if something happened right now. I'll tell you
Eckhart's
that much.
Press, you better wear.
No, it's a great
Kevlar
story.
underwear. It is.
I mean, I
totally
don't even
true story.
believe that story. Anyway, the little anecdote that I have, which
Top that.
I can't. It pales in comparison.
Wall knocker.
My nice knocker that I got right there. So we were. I can't believe I'm this old, but my 50th high school reunion was scheduled for like next weekend. They postponed
They're
it
all
just
postponed.
the other day, yesterday, and I thought, hey, we're going to be the first class that actually has a 60th reunion because, everybody dies after the 50th. Nobody had 60th reunions. Now I'm not so sure that we're ever going to get past the 40th reunion, and maybe this is a harbinger. Of course, remember, I am a baby boomer, so I am grandiose and think the world and the end of the world revolves around me. But maybe this is a harbinger of what of the bad stuff in America, and with the national debt being at what it is, and we're putting off everything until tomorrow, that there won't be a tomorrow. Certainly not for me. I'm wondering if I actually will get to
So
go to
Annie,
my 50th
tomorrow, I love you.
There's,
It's all
but
gone.
there's this guy who said he didn't want to go to the reunion because he's got an autoimmune situation. I understood that. But he wanted to go to a private dinner with about 10 people in an indoor restaurant. And now this guy finished 80 places above me in the high school class ranking, so he must be smarter than I am.
So he's going in a beekeeper suit.
But I
to talk
don't
to anybody.
understand. How's he going to eat?
Right.
He'll suck the honey through a straw. And
I sucked a few honeys.
yeah, well, all right. We can't. We're on TV in
I
Peoria.
meant the bumblebee
No, right,
honey.
no, innocent construction of that.
Exactly right.
So now that I've lost my train of thought, I'm going to go back to your book.
You didn't do a
Now,
45? You didn't do a 45 reunion? Only by the 10th?
there was a 45th.
Okay.
I didn't go to that.
Gotcha. Why not? Too busy?
I felt, look, when you get to be our age, you are kind of my contemporary, aren't you?
I'm 58.
Oh no, you're a baby. So everything feels like, especially when you get in your 60s, everything was yesterday anyway.
Right.
So the 40th was the yesterday, and the 20th was the day before that. So why do I need to see these people again? So time collapses.
Could you do a Zoom reunion? A resumion?
Yeah, may as well. So how do you like the chutzpah? You talk about your friend who robs his own bank.
That's more than chutzpah.
Oh, that's the ultimate.
That's,
the ultimate definition
Surus.
of chutzpah. Well, it's surus and it's chutzpah. The ultimate definition is the kid who kills his parents and then begs,
sues them.
Well, then he begs for the mercy of the court because he's an orphan. That's the ultimate definition of chutzpah. But here's second, right? So the New York Teachers Union, they, like 6 months or so ago, were saying, well, we can't go back to school unless all the kids are vaccinated. Now the New York Teachers Union is saying, we can't make all our members get vaccinated. So the students have to get it, but the teachers don't. It's ridiculous. Kids don't need to wear masks. Now, we differ on, I'm vaccinated. You're right about that.
Get a wrestling mask, a Dr. X.
Really, masks are actually beneficial to so many children who taunt each other on the playground.
They should just put them all on.
Well, Wisconsin, you should have a body mask.
Farmer jeans just goes right over the face.
Really. So but the kids, there's got to be deleterious effects having to wear a mask all day in school, and there's no good reason for it because COVID does not affect children significally, and you get the teachers vaccinated, voila, that's the end of the story. But now it's these panic mongers, and I wish we had Eric Zorn back on the show because I'd like to rake him over the cola because I'm sure he's one of those guys who is in favor of vaccinated people wearing masks. The whole point of being vaccinated was not to wear a mask anymore. You don't need. But there was this Provincetown Massacre, of course. Did you hear about it? Nobody died. Nobody died. They had this, it was, it's a gay festival in Provincetown. There's like 40,000 people who were there. And there were a number of COVID cases that came out of it, but there were not that many hospitalizations and nobody died. And they were in these very tight quarters. From that, they extrapolate, the CDC extrapolates, and all of a sudden you've got us wearing masks again. And this CDC director, Rachel Walensky, I don't know if she's an idiot or she's just nefarious, but do we have the clip from her with Lester Holt at all?
Yes, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry I surprised you on that. We don't have to play it if you don't want. But she's like totally lost. She has said that the vaccination, those with vaccinations, it's 95% effective. Actually, she's wrong about that. It makes it seem like it's 5% not effective. No, that's only vis-a-vis unvaccinated. But not all unvaccinated people get COVID. So the real number is infinitesimal. There is no... if you're vaccinated, you hardly have a ghost of a chance of getting COVID. You may get the Delta variant and not even feel any symptoms.
Did you feel any after effects when you got your second shot?
I did not. My wife did, so she took the brunt of that. But that's do we have her right now?
Coming down with the infections, there have been some concerns that the CDC has not been more transparent on this issue. Is there anything you want to say to clear the air on these breakthrough cases?
I do want to articulate that we expected to see some breakthrough cases. No vaccine is 100%, and I think we should be really lucky to understand that this vaccine is working against severe disease, against hospitalizations, against deaths.
Dr. Walensky, how do we turn around this wave? What's the best case in getting better?
The most important thing, I think, to realize is if we unify as a country, we can turn this around in several weeks. I'm really heartened by the vaccination rates that are increasing dramatically in some areas of this country that have been hit the hardest. So really getting people vaccinated. But in the meantime, to put that mask back on.
No! Not if you're vaccinated. God damn it. I got that vaccination. My wife had to suffer for crying out loud. I didn't. She's also said things like in the past, transmissions outside, nobody's supposed to get it. She said it was less than 10%, which makes you feel like, it could be 9%. No, it's like nothing percent. So, I'm going to the White Sox game today. Should I not go? Barack Obama supposedly is shrinking his birthday party, his 60th birthday party at Martha's Vineyard, it's going to go down from the hundreds to only family and friends. Why doesn't the former president, disclose the actual numbers? Because I have a feeling it's really not any different. It's just he's just saying all this stuff.
Is he wearing a mask on his birthday?
And they said, in the story I read anyway, that it's an outdoor thing. Well, why do you have to wear why make it smaller outdoors? Should I not go to Kaminsky Field, as he once called it, tonight? I mean, I don't understand that. But and also, will he be inviting his imaginary friends from, he wrote that book, Dreams from My Father, which included what he called composite friends who had been victims of racism, but somebody actually read the real biography of Obama and compared it to his own autobiography and realized they were totally fabricated characters. So Obama was the smooth liar. Guys like Biden, he'll go up in front of you and say he drove a semi-truck, or his father told him in the 1950s, hey, love is love between gay people. Oh, sure, yeah, that happened. And the other day, he even admitted that he'd been bullied into this unconstitutional continuation of the rent
eviction
thing.
How do you think Carlton Sheets and Russ Whitney feel about that? They sold all those tapes. Now all the people aren't getting their rents. They're going to get their houses stormed.
That's what. Hey,
they're wearing a mask to just conceal their identity.
You take your chances. You take your chances. When you talk about chutzpah. This guy. I mean, the Supreme Court has already ruled. Who needs court packing when you've got Biden doing de facto court packing? He's basically negated the Supreme Court's edict on this. Of course, it's going to go through the courts again, and he knows it's going to go through the courts again. But meantime, he's going to buy a little more time on that, and that is very cynical and it's wrong. And I am Len O'Connor, but
I'm Fahey Flynn.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dobie. It was great to
It's a blast to see you again.
Yeah, the book is
Monkey in the Middle, Eckhart's Press.
I still don't even know if it's real or if it's a novel.
The second time he wore a gorilla mask and a tuxedo. That's why it's Monkey in the Middle.
I see.
I will give you this copy if you read it or want to use it as a doorstop, or we can all...
I think you already gave me the Cliffs Notes version.
You got it.
So that's fine.
Wait till the movie comes out. Two Wayans brothers will be playing me and my buddy.
There we go.
Caitlyn Jenner and a duck. It'll be nothing like
Oh, man. That sounds like an all-star cast. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, which I'm not sure what it is. Is it next week? It may be. We'll find out. Who knows? Jackie Mason will be our guest. Bye-bye. Bruce Wolf and Dobie Maxwell, right? On the weekly wrap bonus round. Yeah, knocked very lightly that time.
Do you have a deductible? You have a copay?
Ouch.
Wear a boxing glove when you do that.
I will. We're now in the bonus round.
We are.
What's it called, Chris?
This is the Snopes game.
Snopes game, okay.
We are playing it since you're undefeated. We brought in a new challenger
to
try and take your title.
I am Oscar Bonavena.
Who did he beat?
Nobody.
Exactly. Okay.
Richard Dunn.
Really? Boy, you know your pugilism, my friend.
James Bone Crusher Smith.
I remember him. Yeah, okay.
So since Bruce has to get to a Sox game, we've shrunk this down. This will be a quick lightning round edition.
Gotcha.
And it's going to be 3 Snopes headlines that they have gone in and told you if they are true, false, and we've combined the third category. Whether it's unproven, they can't find enough data.
Wishy-washy.
So you have to get into the heads of these Snopes fact checkers. And some of them are straightforward. And the first one is in the spirit of the Olympics. We have chosen the first one, which you may have already heard on the news, and maybe you got a yes or a no already. Did Japan's Olympic portion of the Olympic Committee produce the medals from recycled phones?
Is it true or false?
Is it true, false?
Is there an in-between answer on that
unproven.
one?
There's an unproven.
Oh, it's unproven. From recycled phones.
Yeah, because there's some truth to it.
You know why I believe that's true? Because I was in Tokyo in 2000 with the Cubs, and we did a report from their electronic area, that street, and I got this little thing, and I put it next to my ear, and I said, where do you talk into it? Because there's no receiver or whatever, and that was like the first cell phone. So I'm thinking they're using those very phones from 20 years ago. I say it's true.
I would say, why not be thrifty and frugal? I say true.
So we have 2 truths.
2 truths.
Yeah.
It is true.
All right, there you go.
That is the ingenuity of Japan.
Yeah,
they're just cheap.
or being cheap, as Dobie is saying.
Thrifty.
Now I'm going to go let's go a little scat here. I've got 2 scat ones.
Okay. What's
Ella Fitzgerald scat?
Oh, that kind of scat. Scatological.
Yeah.
Did our president, Mr. Joe Biden, according
I'm glad you said it was Joe Biden. Because
not according
to the Arizona audit.
Cy Sperling is my president of the Hair Club. That's my president.
I believe this was last week, perhaps. Did Joe Biden say, my butt's been wiped to the press pool when he was getting on Marine One? Did Joe Biden say, my butt's been wiped? I don't know if you've seen the footage.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay. So did Joe Biden
This is after some of that ice cream that he was eating didn't sit well with him, or it actually did sit.
Went through him like a Canadian quarter through a vending machine.
There we go. So we'll say true.
True. He did say my butt's been wiped.
I gotta say, I don't know if he knows what he's saying. I'll go half and half.
Half and half. True.
True.
Snopes dug deep into this one and came back with unproven.
Oh,
Dobie.
Okay.
All right, you win.
So when you play the clip, which I think we can play the clip, if you hear it, it does sound like he says that.
Is this like playing a Led Zeppelin record backwards and hearing "I Love Satan"?
So he says something, and you can hear it. It's what, remember that was that. What was the 2 things that if you heard different?
It's a green dress or a yellow dress. Yeah. Yeah.
Does immigration need to be in reconciliation? Must it be in reconciliation?
What must be what?
Immigration.
Yeah, it sounds like my butt's been wiped. Of course, I always thought it's "excuse me while I kiss this guy" from
Exactly.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yes.
So, okay.
All right. So the last and final one to get Bruce out of here to get to the see the.
I think Bruce is pitching tonight.
That's right. Did you see Hawk Harrelson's ceremonial first pitch?
Did you hear him with?
Did he bounce one?
You hear him
No,
last
it
night?
sounded like, I thought maybe he only bounced it because he was throwing to like a mascot or something, but it was like 12 feet and it bounced. What did he say?
The
What did he say?
anti-ephus.
He did a whole inning with on the radio side with
Darren
Jackson, and Connor McKnight is filling in because
right.
McKnight's doing the Olympics and whatnot,
Yeah.
so Len's doing the TV.
Yeah, thanks for. I'm glad you made us follow that course. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, the Super Sox man, but he what has it been? 3 years?
Something
he
like
sounds
that.
like he's aged 15, 20
Oh,
years.
really?
Slow, could not remember a thing. DJ was saving him on
Really?
every.
I thought it was
anyone's
Tim
name.
Conway.
I think I could beat him in going down the stairs like Mr. Tugboat, really
exactly.
slow. I thought that when I saw him, I once was in a celebrity golf outing or something like that, and Hawk was the host of it, and you had to hit an 8-iron on the 8th hole against him, and he laughed at my golf swing. And, Hawk was a professional golfer. He actually invented the batting glove from a golf glove, but I got a feeling I could take Hawk in a round of golf right now.
Do you know he plays golf with Joe West all the time now? They live 20 minutes from
Oh,
each other.
mercy. Mercy. Okay. There you okay.
All right, so here's our he's definitely aged and he got out at the right time because
a lot of people thought he should have gotten out about 20 years
I
ago.
think so. Maybe about
Terry
10.
Boers.
I was a huge Hawk fan.
I love Hawk too. You can put
like
it on
Wimpy.
the board. Yeah.
Hawk and Wimpy. Good.
I
good
like
team.
Hawk and Wimpy too.
Yeah.
And I love Wimpy. And Wimpy did not go. DJ went to the Hall of Fame introduction, but Wimpy didn't go, which was odd to me, right?
I like DJ too.
What,
DJ's good.
you know your? Can I listen to your Sox podcast on the way over to the game?
I'll give you all the info so you can be the master of the suite. You'll be with the-
Lamar Hoyt for 500, Alex.
Exactly.
All right, the last one. So
30
right now,
yeah.
Dobie is up. He will never be invited back. If
It's
he
okay.
wins.
It's like
You
2
might
out of 3
wanna tank
falls
this one,
wrestling.
Dobie.
I'm Kenny
Exactly.
J. I'm about to get beaten by Vern Guy.
So
I'm Edward Carpentier. Do you remember him?
I do.
Yes.
The Flying
right.
Frenchman.
So being fair in the scat category, did President Trump experience diarrhea on a golf course?
Oh, I thought Biden just experienced it. I said before.
Well, somebody cleaned him up apparently. But did Trump experience diarrhea on a golf course?
I would diarrhea of the mouth.
It was huge.
Sure.
It was huge.
Yeah, right. I will say true that he did.
True?
Yeah.
I think he soaked his frog hair. No, I think that's false.
So we have a false. It is false.
Oh.
John, can you bring up this image?
Dobie, you really know.
I'm
things.
sorry. I know my diarrhea
Well,
stories.
you are a novelist. Yeah.
So there's this image. I don't know if you can see it, Bruce. There's a brown stain on the back of Trump's trousers. But it is false.
That's
It was
Mike
a doctored
Pence.
photo.
Mike Pence.
Oh, it's a doctored
Of
photo.
course, it circulated around the internet 19,000
Why does
times
anybody
before.
need to doctor a photo of Donald Trump? Aren't the real ones crazy enough?
I don't know how much time we have, but under 30 seconds. I was heckled by Donald Trump in Florida.
Really?
1997. I was opening for Rosie O'Donnell, and they were really good friends.
Yeah.
Then, and it was a 2-act show. I did 40 minutes up
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
They said, we're bringing Donald Trump in on Saturday night. Just pretend.
Yeah.
It was a big club, 500 seats, which is big for a comedy club.
Yeah.
They said, just he'll come in, and it'll be dark. Don't worry about it. So I see him come in, his 2 bodyguards. He was married to Marla Maples at the time.
Sure.
So they sat down, and about 30 seconds after they sat down, I heard from the back, when are you going to get funny?
Oh, my goodness.
It's Donald Trump. And I said, hey, man, just pipe down. Nobody knows who you are. I know who you are. Just sit there and look dumb like you do at work all day. I'm running the show. 3 minutes later, I'm still waiting. So
wow.
the person that was running the sound and lights turns on the sound and lights. Everybody looks, it's Donald Trump, it's Donald Trump, it's Donald Trump. And it's spread all through the building. So now he takes his bar napkin and holds it up. Okay, oh, no. We're not. When am I going to get funny? When are you going to finish that haircut that you got started with an egg beater? And I just went bam, bam, bam. I
Wow.
said, heckling me is like tipping over a wheelchair,
Yeah.
saying I kicked your butt.
Yeah,
So they ended up
exactly.
leaving without paying their bill. So it made the paper the next day. They sent the bodyguards thought that Trump paid it. Trump thought the bodyguards paid for it. So he sent a $100 bill over the next day. So I talked to my buddy in Milwaukee, my hometown, and it made the Milwaukee paper too. Heckled by Donald Trump. I still have the article. He wasn't the president.
Dobie,
But so as soon as he got elected, I thought I was heckled by a president.
I am going to heckle you right now because that should have been the very first story. Now it's at like extra time. This is in the footnotes.
I'm sorry.
And
maybe I'll come back again. Maybe I'll poison Tim.
We can
Slagle.
edit that.
No, we
Let's
can
make
put
that the
right in
first.
front,
Just
yes.
go. You do your magic on this.
Well, Eric Zorn will share it, so it'll get more viewers there.
There we
Ha,
go.
okay.
All right. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Dobie.
Bruce.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye-bye.